In one of the most chilling cases of familicide in recent memory, the seemingly picture-perfect life of the Watts family shattered overnight. On the 13th of August, 2018, in the quiet town of Frederick, Colorado, Christopher Lee Watts, a 33-year-old oil field worker, committed a horrific act that stunned the nation. He murdered his pregnant wife, Shannan Watts, and their two young daughters, Bella and Celeste. What made the case even more disturbing was the contrast between the family's public image and the grim reality behind closed doors, the courtroom drama, and the broader societal questions the case raised. Christopher and Shannan's story began in 2010 with a Facebook friend request that led to marriage 2 years later. Seeking a new beginning, they moved from North Carolina to Frederick, Colorado, where they built a life centered around their children, Bella Marie, born in December 2013, and Celeste Catherine, born in July 2015. By 2018, Shannan was 15 weeks pregnant with their third child, a boy they had named Nico. A devoted mother and passionate entrepreneur, Shannan worked in multi-level marketing and often shared glimpses of their family life online, creating the image of a happy and close-knit household. Chris worked for Anadarko Petroleum, and the couple seemed to embody the American dream. However, beneath this polished exterior, their marriage was unraveling, largely due to Chris's extramarital affair with a co-worker, Nicole Kessinger. On the morning of the 13th of August, 2018, after Shannan returned from a business trip to Arizona, Chris strangled her in their home following an argument about their failing marriage. According to Chris's later confessions, the argument centered on his desire for a divorce, exacerbated by Shannan's discovery of his affair. In a chilling sequence of events, Chris loaded Shannan's body into the back of his work truck, along with Bella and Celeste, who were still alive at the time. He drove them to a remote oil site operated by Anadarko, where he smothered his daughters, one by one, and disposed of their bodies in crude oil tanks. Shannan's body was buried in a shallow grave nearby. The brutality of the murders, particularly the deliberate killing of his young daughters, shocked investigators and the public alike. Bella, the older daughter, reportedly fought for her life, biting her tongue multiple times before succumbing. Chris initially claimed ignorance about his family's whereabouts, even appearing on local television on the 14th of August to plead for their safe return.
I told her, but she never got back to me, but she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well. And that's what really concerned a lot of people, is like, if she's not getting back to her, like, if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine.
However, a neighbor's security camera footage, which showed Chris loading items into his truck in the early hours of the 13th of August, raised suspicions. This footage, combined with Shannan's friend Nicole Atkinson's prompt reporting of her disappearance after she missed a doctor's appointment, accelerated the investigation. The investigation unfolded rapidly. On the 13th of August, after Shannan and the girls were reported missing, police searched the Watts home and found Shannan's purse, phone, and wedding ring.
Who's got asthma?
I don't know. Kids need medication too, and apparently she didn't take their medication either.
Celeste, this is all their medication.
That's
Yeah,
the kid.
Celeste, the kid?
Mm-hmm.
That's albuterol for a nebulizer. Something for an inhaler.
Did you find an ID?
Yeah. We already out here. Nothing in the car.
The absence of the children's blankets, which they were rarely without, was a red flag. On the 15th of August, Chris failed a polygraph test, and his story began to unravel.
Before 2018, did you ever lose your temper with someone you cared about, and you're going to say,
No.
because you're telling a
Why?
Awesome. About to begin, please remain still. Did you write the number 1?
No.
Did you write the number 3?
No.
Did you write the number 5?
No.
This portion of the test is complete. Please remain still while I take the instrument out of operation. Okay, you can relax. How'd you feel?
Initially, he claimed Shannan had killed the girls, and he killed her in a rage after witnessing her actions on a baby monitor. However, investigators found no evidence to support this claim and pressed Chris further. He eventually confessed to killing Shannan and later admitted to smothering Bella and Celeste.
And then I just smothered or choked them. I didn't hear anything. When I was downstairs, they came back up and they were gone.
The bodies were located on the 16th of August. Shannan in a shallow grave and the girls in oil tanks at the Anadarko site. The disposal method was particularly gruesome, as the toxic oil caused the girls' skin to deteriorate, complicating recovery efforts. Chris's affair with Nicole Kessinger, which began in June 2018, emerged as a key motive. Kessinger, unaware that Chris was not in the process of divorcing, cooperated with police, revealing text messages and details of their relationship. Chris had told her he was separated, and he was actively planning a future with her, including searching for jewelry and vacation spots online. This affair, coupled with Shannan's threats to limit his access to the children, likely fueled his decision to eliminate his family to pursue a fresh start. On the 21st of August, 2018, Chris was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, 2 additional counts for the deaths of children under 12 by a person in a position of trust, 1 count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. On the 6th of November, he pleaded guilty to all 9 charges as part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty, a decision supported by Shannan's family, who did not want further loss of life. On the 19th of November, a Weld County judge sentenced Chris to 5 life sentences without parole, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, plus an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shannan's pregnancy and 36 years for tampering with the bodies. The judge described the crimes as among the most vicious and inhumane he had ever encountered. Chris was initially held in Colorado but was transferred to Dodge Correctional Institution, a maximum security prison in Waupun, Wisconsin, in December 2018 due to security concerns. He remains there, reportedly spending his time reflecting on his actions, keeping photos of his family in his cell, and engaging in religious activities. The Watts case has left a lasting impact. Shannan's family, particularly her parents, Frank and Sandra Ruzicek, have spoken out about their grief and the online harassment they faced. They've advocated for awareness of domestic violence, emphasizing that such tragedies can occur in seemingly stable households. Chris, now 39, has expressed remorse in letters and interviews, but his claims of personal growth and religious redemption have been met with skepticism. Christopher Watts's prison conversations with fellow inmate Dylan Tallman, later published in a trilogy, offered disturbing insight into Watts's attempts to rewrite the narrative of his crimes. He described Shannan as controlling, a claim widely condemned as manipulative and self-serving. Rather than accepting responsibility, Watts continued to distort the truth, further deepening the public's outrage. The murders have sparked national conversations about domestic violence and the psychological traits of family annihilators. Experts like former FBI profiler Candice DeLong explain that such individuals often present a facade of normalcy, making their violent intentions nearly impossible to detect until it's too late. The case underscores the importance of recognizing warning signs in troubled relationships and the need for early intervention. The Watts family murders remain one of the most haunting examples of familial betrayal in recent history. In an effort to escape his life and pursue a new relationship, Christopher Watts murdered his pregnant wife, Shannan, and their 2 young daughters, Bella and Celeste. The brutality and deceit surrounding the case shocked the nation and left a lasting emotional scar. Through widespread media coverage and public discussion, the tragedy continues to resonate, serving as a grim reminder of the hidden dangers within seemingly perfect homes.